Alright guys, so there you can see the parking lot. And here is the trailhead, beginning of the trail. And it will become apparent that, at least for the moment, we're actually on two trails. Right up ahead, you're going to see a red trail. It's the red line in between two white lines. And a bit ahead they have the white, blue, and orange trail. And the white, blue, and orange, or orange, blue, and white, is the Israel trail. But the trail that we actually want to focus on today is called Shvil Hapisga, which means around the heights of the mountain trail. Possibly a bit more accurate of a name would be Peak Trail. And this is where we came from now, and now to the direction that we are going. And I'll give you little bits of information, and every so often I'll stop and start as the scenery starts to get interesting, or there's a nice lookout, or anything like that. I want to show you guys. But this peak trail is the peak of one of Israel's, I don't know if I can say highest mountains, but probably one of the higher ones, certainly up in the north of Israel. And the trail that we want today is going to be the red trail. So at some point, the red trail and the Israel trail, which is the orange, white, and blue, I believe, are probably going to separate. And you can see here we have to turn for, let me show you. When you see these markers, this is the red trail, but it's at an angle, so it just means you have to turn. And now you can see here it's going straight, so we'll more or less continue straight. These are pretty good trail markings that you get in the Israeli trails, but sometimes they are a bit lacking. And here we're going to look out at the viewpoint in just 1 minute. Distance is the city of Safed or Tzfat. There you go. It's a beautiful view. So here we are with another red trail marker. And indeed we are continuing. It's very rocky. In general, I find that Israel is very rocky. And the trails have a lot of rocks, so you definitely got to bring some good shoes in general when you go. But other than that, I'm not expecting this Mount Meron Peak Trail to be especially fun. And there you have this, show you the view again. And if you do hear me breathing, well, I'm a bit out of shape, but that's why we're going to get a lot more of these videos for you, so that I can get in shape, and all of you can come here, and you can get in shape. We're going to go through many different exciting trails and places all across Israel, with a focus mainly, though, on the beautiful north. We haven't gone all that far, but as you see here, we're continuing on the red trail. And already it's changed quite a bit in that there's a lot of shade and cover by all these trees. So now it's, even though the edge of the forest is probably not too far away from here, we feel like we're pretty deep in the forest. Here we are a view of the forest. And one thing that I'm really not too sure of is you have these two trails that are at the moment still coinciding. You have the red trail, and in this case it has a little purple dot on the right, so you can see right here. And then we have the Israel trail, which no matter where it is along Israel, from basically goes from the top all the way near the Lebanese border to in the north to down south all the way to Eilat. And that trail is always the orange, white, and blue if you're looking at it from left to right. Or actually I'm mistaken, we see one right here. It's mixed up the order. It is orange, blue, and white. So that's actually an amazing trail to do. There are people who have done the whole Israel trail, but that's quite a big effort. And there's a nice little area in the forest. And for the most part, people will do portions of that trail. But if you want to do the whole trail, you really need to prepare, and you need to figure out where either you can set up tent or you can find guest houses along the way. And that's probably going to be beyond the scope of this channel. But individual portions of that trail we will definitely do. But again, today I am expecting at some point for the two trails to separate and go their own ways. And here we have the red again. What I really don't understand, though, is why are the signs, if the two trails are now converged together, why are the signs, the markings for the red trail, you find them in one place, and then you walk down however many meters or feet down the path, and you'll see the markings for the other colors for the Israel trail. So that I don't know, but now we just saw two of the red ones in a row, so we're clearly still on the red trail, and there hasn't really been anywhere to really get lost so far. This looks like a pretty straightforward, clear trail, but I will tell you that there are definitely times when they could really use a bit more markings. The Parks Authority or whoever does the trail, depending on which kind of a park you're in, could really use a few more of them. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's so easy to get lost, because usually you don't, but it definitely can happen. You really got to pay attention, or at least I do, to, you may have more of a natural sense for these things, but I would think you got to pay attention to the trail. And alright, we got a bit of climbing and huffing and puffing here, so we'll stop this for a bit and we'll continue just a bit down the road. So, hey guys, welcome back. And we started this trail at about, I would say, 2:15, and now it's just a bit after 2:45. And I believe the trail is approximately an hour, a bit more climbing here. To be honest, I usually do quite a bit more research before I go on these trails. I had research just in the summer because I planned to come here in the summer, but for various reasons, primarily due to the level of the year we've been having with this coronavirus, I never made it out here, although I did manage to make it to a whole bunch of other trails. Speaking about the summer and the winter, for those of you not so familiar with Israel and the climate here, it's a pretty dry country, not just in the summer, but I would say all the way from maybe April to around October. It really doesn't rain. And maybe sometimes in the beginning or the end of those periods you will get occasional rain, but for the most part, you won't find much rain. What that means is that a lot of hikes, the way it looks will actually be quite a bit different. For example, there was one hike not too far from here. It was called the Mount Tavor hike. And that I saw pictures of that, which were taken in the fall or the winter or something like that. And that was gorgeous and green to me. But we went in the summer, and number one, needless to say, it was really hot. So you gotta just be considerate of that, and you gotta bring a lot of drinks in the summer. In general, wherever you go in Israel, the south is going to be more hot, the north less, but it's still going to be hot more or less all over in height of the summer. So another thing is that when we arrived there and we started walking, I was like, well, this doesn't quite look like all those pictures that I saw. It was all beautiful and green. And let's just stop here and admire this view. Again, now to the other side of us, you have that little lake or pond, reservoir. And you have just a bunch of fields and some communities, which I'm not sure exactly what they are. There you go. Enjoy the view. Here you have the proper lookout post, just a few steps up. And it's probably going to be a little bit hard to read, but it actually has all the names of the different communities that we can see from here. So I'll just go by a little bit slowly, and well, either you can read or you can't read. For example, at the end, which would be right around there somewhere, you can't really see it, it's kind of blocked mostly by the trees, but that's Svat. And over there would be Mount Canaan. And probably those trees are the Beria forest around there. But you got a lot of nice stuff. Let's continue. Alright, so we're continuing now, and I got a little bit interrupted there by that beautiful lookout point. But the point that we were making was that this place I was at, I don't quite remember exactly when it was, but this past summer, which is called Mount Tabor, or Tavor in Hebrew, was when we were there, although the picture showed it as being very beautifully green, which I personally love that look, it was kind of brown. I will say that it was still very beautiful. There was still water flowing, and there were even places where you can, little swimming pools and holes to, you can take a little brief swim and cool off there. And there were people jumping in, and I can't vouch for how safe that is, but it looked like a lot of fun. So that was the deal with that. But over here, of course, we are not at Mount Tavor today. We are at the Mount Meron Peak Trail. The peak of Mount Meron, which is one of the big mountains in the north. And this particular trail, I would have to say, although I haven't been here, this is actually my first time here, and I haven't been here in summer, this trail probably doesn't change all that much, because this appears to me more or less an evergreen forest, and you're high up here, so you're probably good to go. Even in the summer, if I had to guess, I would say you have a fairly nice, well, I don't know if you have a breeze in the summer, but it's probably reasonable enough. But that would be just my feeling. We are quite high up here. Although, technically speaking, this is not the actual peak. I did see you can go a bit higher. There are some antennas of some sort up there. So, but we actually keep on climbing. And again, it gets confusing because I keep seeing trails for the markers for the Israel Trail, and I see the red trail. And sometimes you only see one for a while and not the other, so that's just a bit of my pet peeve. I wouldn't worry about it too much. So again, I'm trying to give you a bit of a feel. I don't want this video to go on forever, so you guys can let me know if you'd like to see more, or you just want a basic feeling of the different parts of the trail. And here it's a bit different again. I don't know what this is. Let's have a look. There. That's something interesting. Okay. And here they did it wisely, actually. It's kind of fading out, but you can actually see both of the trail markers together, indicating to turn. And if I go up a little bit here, you'll see those ugly antennas kind of ruining the view, but what can you do? What can you do? Again, I apologize, as I am at times a bit out of breath. But come on guys, give us a like, subscribe, and make some comments. Also just asking me to do more, because I would love to cover every single one of these trails in Israel. Maybe even like every attraction in Israel. Take a little time. But yeah, let me know if you want more. And let me know if you have a specific place you'd like to see me do, because I'll do that too. And I'll also get more fit in the process. So my doctor will like you too. Alright, well, it looks like we're coming to a turn here after we make it down these steps. Like I said, it's very rocky, so you gotta wear good shoes, and obviously you gotta dress. It goes without saying, wherever you go, you gotta dress for the right time of year. We're turning left here. Okay. Alright, so we'll continue shortly. Nothing any more exciting here. Okay, so here's a section I could like. It's pretty typical, but it's nice. And I just want to apologize. At the moment, I can't exactly tell you that I have the best of cameras. And I am trying to actually hold it while I am busy trying to walk in this trail. Here it's actually not too bad. But I can't claim, especially when I'm in the more rocky parts, that I'm holding it as straight as I can, and I would not be surprised if there'll be some comments telling me that, and you're more than welcome to. Excuse me there. So here again we got all these rocks, so I prefer not to trip. I do prefer to give you a nice, great video, but I also prefer not to trip here. Kill myself. Fall off the edge of the cliff, you know. Because how would I get you the video that way? Right? Makes sense. Alright, so where exactly are we continuing now? Here you can actually see a lot of leaves on the ground. It has been quite windy lately. I couldn't tell you exactly what kind of trees these are around here, but it's pretty, and looks like we're seeing quite a bit of sun coming up. So I don't know if this is just like we're coming out of the forest, or just a little clearing, or what. But I guess we will find out. And here's a trailhead sign. So what does that mean? Let's see what this is. Okay, let me just show you guys here. This is what we're on, the Peak Trail. And the other way, it says Hapisga picnic area. So I guess that means it's coming close to the end of the trail, because it doesn't actually say to continue the trail that way. But I'm gonna go find out. I mean, I believe this trail goes all the way around, so that should be it. And here is, I don't know if you can see this, it says Hamama Ruins, or in Hebrew that would be Hamama Ruins. And if you want to go, this is straight ahead where we're going to continue, but here are to the Hamama Ruins. This is where we came from, somewhere around right there. And that's the Chamama ruins. And now, without me falling here, we are going to continue to the Hapisga picnic area. I assume we're close to finishing with this trail. Let's continue, and sorry about that sun. I'm going to stop it until we get a view that doesn't bother your eyes. So actually the trail here sorry about that. The trail here, I wasn't sure if it was actually videoing or not, but that's the top. Those antennas there are the very top of the mountain, so we're like right by the top now, just about. And the trail continues either here or there. Which one is it? Here it is. I see a. Sometimes you just gotta walk a little. There's a little red marker. We've actually now separated from the Israel Trail. That was the where we had that point heading to the Chamama Trail. That was that. I don't know where exactly it went after that, but that was the direction the Israel Trail was going, and we're continuing here. And these signs, in general, are very good. Both those trailhead signs, which are hanging up, and the ones, and just the general colored markers, which are painted on the objects. And it would be nice if one was painted here, but I don't think this is the way to go. Must be this way. Yeah. Yeah, here we are. There's a red. So they're very good. They're actually, from what I understand, the painted ones with colors are based on the system in the Czech Republic. And the other ones that are like kind of pointing you to the places that you see normally in the beginning, or sometimes at a crucial junction, you'll see them. They're a little bit, I'd like to say they're a little bit cheap on them, but they're pretty good though. But what I would like to see in them, on those ones that are actually based on the Swiss system, what I would like to see is just telling you, you know, how much more, how many kilometers till the end of the trail. Because you're on the trail, and you know, you should have done your homework and know approximately how long, but you want to know how long you want. You know, you don't want to know how far along you are and how much you have till the end of the trail. So that would be a very nice addition if at least those, the more main trailhead signs would just give you an amount till the end, or show you each way how much farther to go. I just want to point out, take the time to point out to you that nowadays, of course, the big thing is to take your masks, but you always got to take some, I don't know how you can see it, some water. And this is my favorite thing to take for water. If you can get these insulated packs, they're not very common from what I've seen, but I've come across them. I came across them about 10 plus years ago, and that's my thing. What I do, they're kind of like an insulated pack. You put a soda bottle or some sort of in Israel they're usually 1.5 liters, but they can be other sizes, and you put them in, and they keep your drink cool and insulated. Here we seem to have another viewpoint. Here we are. Bit of a tree blocking the way at this viewpoint. That's all. So what I do with those bottles, you get the insulated bottles, and you can choose, like I said, here in Israel they're usually 1.5 liters, so you got to get the right size, obviously. But they probably come more commonly in 1 liter. Maybe they have them in 2 liters. I know in the States 2 liters is the big thing. And what I do is I fill them up 3/4 of the way, and I freeze them at night, And the morning before I go, I add the remainder of water, and I find it generally lasts the rest of the day that way. And it's a great thing to have, especially when you're doing these hikes. You need to have a lot of water, and 1.5 liters is often not enough. So you can take 2 of them or something. But that's what you do, and you'll find the right balance. How much to freeze? You don't want to freeze too little, and you don't want to freeze too much, because if you freeze too little, it's gonna get warm, especially on a hot day. It won't take you all that long till it gets warm. And if you freeze too much, you're gonna drink it, and you're just gonna have ice left for hours to come. So you don't want that either, unless you have a place to keep filling it up. So that's my little trick with these little bottles that I wish I could hold on to a little better. Some of them have a cute little pocket like this one. And this one, let me just show you. The brand is actually called, there we are, getting the hang of that, Outdoor. It's got a little pocket too. And it's actually a good brand. Some of them are much more thin, the insulation. And you don't really want the thin ones. You also want the ones that will make a good seal, like this, around the top. But enough about the bottles. We want to enjoy this trail. I just do like to give you some basics, because there are some things you should have. When you go hiking in Israel, probably anywhere, but definitely Israel, you want to have a good amount of water with you. And of course, in the hot seasons, you really want to have a lot, depending exactly where the trail is, of course, and how high you're climbing. But even if it's not too crazy a trail, make sure to take your water, because you really don't want to be without water and you find that you haven't yet reached the end of the trail and you've got a way to go and you're dying of thirst. So, not the wisest of ideas. Alright, we're going to try to get ahead of the crowd, and we will continue. Alright, so what I've noticed recently here is that we are heading down, down, down. Not exactly a steep down, but there was a moderate climb, or not even a moderate climb, it was a fairly easy climb, just very spread out the whole way. This trail is not a hard trail. This is not a hard climb. This is an easy family trail. You couldn't take a stroller or a pram very easily, but other than that, it's not exactly wheelchair accessible, unfortunately, but other than that, it's a pretty easy trail. So here we are. We are at the road, and this is the exit by the road, and this says for authorized vehicles only. But where the heck is the parking lot? Well, there's a sign. Let's see what that sign says. This doesn't usually happen. The trail's kind of just ended by a road. I'm not sure if they want us to go down this way. No, that's the night camping. It's called in Hebrew night camping, nighttime campground, but it's a campground. And I'm assuming we go this way, probably somewhere around here, just across the street. This is actually where, now I remember this place, this is actually how I drove in. So the parking lot is probably just around the bend, and it looks like we've come full circle. And let me just have a look at the time now. I'm wearing my sunglasses, so it's a bit hard to see the time here, but it is 3 o'clock. So that's a fairly short trail. It's an easy trail. It's a short trail. Here's a bit more of a nice view, if you can see that. I don't know where that path goes to, but it looks nice. Yeah, I remember where we are now. There were some cars before parked here, but the main parking lot is just about a 3-4 minute walk down. So this is actually what you see at the very beginning. Although most cars go ahead to the proper parking lot. But if you stop here, you'll see this little trailhead sign with some information about the Mount Meron Nature Reserve, and of course the sign will be in Hebrew, Arabic, and English. So pick which one. And that's pretty much it. We just basically walk down here, and it's probably just about another 2 minutes, and we reach the parking lot. So we're pretty much going to say goodbye. I'll just show you when I get to the parking lot, because there is there are a few more informational signs there, and there seems to be a little picnic area, which I'm sure you may be interested in finding out a bit about. Okay. Alright guys, we are pretty much back here at the parking lot. Take a little shortcut here. Just going to show you a little bit about this area here that you come to when you begin the trail. I just want to tell you first, if you're coming from overseas and you're visiting Israel, whether it's the first time or the second time or the 10th time, coming to Israel and just seeing Jerusalem and Tel Aviv and even Eilat, to me, is a crime. I mean, look here. I'm just going to walk up a bit more. Sorry again about my shaky camera. Look at this view. So if you come here, do yourself a favor. You like beautiful green areas. You want to see a bit more of Israel. Come up here. Come up to the north. And you will see. You will have beautiful views. You will have great trails. Of course, when I say beautiful views, I don't necessarily mean this parking lot right here, which is fairly, well, it's not crowded, but when you do consider that tonight, what exactly is the day today? Tonight, basically, we are going, I think it's the 27th, but I forget. Tonight we are going into our 3rd lockdown. Yay, that's so exciting. Wow. Probably going to be a 2-week lockdown, and technically everybody's supposed to be home, unless you're some sort of an essential worker, by 5. But this trail took about 40, including this walk to the parking lot, took about an hour altogether. 50 minutes to an hour, I would say. So here's your little informational trail, or information about the trail. And here's another one. The map of the area also right here. And the other thing I really want to show you, besides, I didn't really intend to show you that lovely garbage container.